Good morning, fellow Ambazonians. Today, now Wednesday, number 14 day for the number 9 month of the year 2022. My name is Capo Daniel, the Deputy Defense Chief and the Spokesperson of the Ambazonian Governing Council, aka Sense Pass King, our own countryman. Wanna welcome to our daily podcast, a program where they bring una meaningful information, the truth, facts-based analysis for help we as we work for this journey to our freedom, the independence of Ambazonia. Good citizens of Ambazonia, we go start today's episode with our call for the Baptist Church for come out with accountability for the Ambazonian soldier, the way they move them, for their care, execute them. The Cameroon occupation forces, they then carry out several execution of Ambazonia, their soldier them, where they find themselves receiving health care for hospitals across our national territory. The Baptist Church, like many other religious institutions inside Ambazonia, then be credited for providing health care and education in many parts of Ambazonia, when those services then will be provided either by our community or by the colonial administration, where it rule over we for over 60 years. But when patients where it is seek care or where find itself for inside the authority and the custody of a hospital for treatment, and that soldier it be dragged outside by an army of occupation and executed out of the hospital in plain sight of civilians and hospital staffs, the church, the Baptist Church, owe it to the parents, the family members, and the community to speak out and account for what happened. The church owe the community an explanation of what happened. The people deserve the right to know what happened to patients that were being taken care of by the Baptist Church. The only reason the Baptist Church would not account and explain what happened is the fear that the account of these events will be used as evidence against Mr. Paul Biya and his colonial regime for war crimes in Ambazonia. Failure to account, even when it is the duty of the church to do so, it will not only be a failure of the moral of the church, but it will be the church abetting, covering up, and protecting a genocidal regime and their mad dog, King Paul Biya, from crimes against humanity being committed on a daily basis in Ambazonia. Information is rich for our bench for the intelligence wings of the Ambazonian Governing Council. Say an Ambazonian activist on the ground had become an instrument of the colonial regime, receiving Cameroon government money through lawyers of the Common Law Bar Association to bribe soldiers in Bamenda. According to the information, will then be substantiated by evidence and witness testimony when we ban Ambazonians, lawyer them for participate for Cameroon Bar Association elections. After they be participate for that election, the Cameroon government will be provide money, cash handout for Ambazonian fighters them. That money will be handed to the traitor, Barrister Mba Eric Mba, when an Ambazonian will be elected as the new battalion for the Colonial Bar Association. That money will be transferred to the hands of one of Ambazonians, the activists them within there for ground zero, me distribute them for Ambazonian fighter them for inside Bamenda. That activists will pay money for all ADF camps, for all ADF top generals and commanders, for compromise them, no for enforce the law will be passed them for ban all those who they be participate for that election. These are betrayers. This is a betraying of the common interest and the aspiration of our people for independence that the banning of Ambazonian lawyers from participating in Cameroon Bar Association was meant to protect. When we pass laws, it is to safeguard the common interests and the aspiration of our people for independence. Anybody who receive bribe from Cameroon to compromise decisions that are being taken for national interest have betrayed the cause, passing those money to soldiers to corrupt them, to allow enablers and traitors to parade our street and visit our homeland without any consequences, set the stage for more and more compromise. We have seen the same thing being done to our soldiers and our people by brasseries. Many brasseries vendors have become agents of the colonial regime and their terrorist military personnel, who uses them to gather intelligence, since those business people have a commercial interest to protect. Many soldiers have lost their life as a result of such practices. When you pay bribe or you compromise soldiers with your money and your donations, or money coming from La Republique to Cameroon, to protect that money, that soldier is going to lie and people are going to die, and an Ambazonian is going to be the biggest loser. Talking about treason, Eric Tattle have come out to demonstrate to Ambazonia that he is a traitor without shame. Eric Tattle, who had championed the call of dismemberment of body parts of Ambazonian students from attending schools.
Put their foot on their hand. That is the instruction. Now, Gary process you work. Bye. You be correct, Papa. Send your people to school museum. You are not be threatened, I promise. If September comes, the first set of kids they go school, they go see what you call and say Njanja Muto. Njanja Muto. They go see Njanja Muto. It's not been like, see, it's not a child's play. If you like, you start at the top, you swear, because I don't like take it. At the top, because I like to do what you call and say, I do 4-1. I advise go date for one finger for picking the hand when they want to go school. For any part of Southern Cameroon. Because when you take.
So Eric Tattle, will be the cause me then caught picking their finger them. If they go for school, you don't come for no talk na say me picking and go back for community school. But say me then get resumption of schools. That means say me then go back for school like it be before the liberation struggle.
Sure say we do the activity effectively. For our side here, we cut hand for people that they disturb struggle where they give government fuel and power. You come the police they can make like if you go like this.
So now the Eric Tattle way single-handedly being used for tarnish the image of Ambazonian struggle and inject the abuses against our own people, helping La Republique du Cameroon to cover up and justify their own atrocity against our own people. Today, the Eric Tattle is following Dangote to push for the resumption of CDC, which Cameroon have pointed out as the biggest success for her continuous occupation of Ambazonia, including the exportation of palm oil products. In an interview provided by Cameroon propagandist newspaper, he explained details on how Ambazonians should go back to school, Ambazonians should start working for CDC, and even in a follow-up video, one would think that interview was a mistake. He further explained that Ambazonians should seek for salary from Cameroon government. Listen.
Only that I don't talk say me CDC workers they go back for work. For the stop what part and what them. When you fight war, what be the key? Now the population. Talk say no apology. CDC you go. So therefore you are not going to apologize to you because that was the instruction at the time. Okay, now we don't see and say after these 2-3 years, what part don't suffer a lot. They don't cry say okay, 100% of the population talk say won't go back and go work as CDC workers. Okay, as Ambazonian separatists or Ambazonian restorationists. Now for make sure say the strategy now for block now which we are part don't harvest and make the Republic not come out and outside of Ambazonia. See this in our land. So now the Republic will pay what part them, what part will get chop where they chop, or what put the chop.
La Republique is going to pay our pardon. That is the word of a traitor, somebody who have been working for Cameroon, who have received a delegation of CPDM parliamentarians in the United States, and traitor Bishop Andrew Carl, and the list goes on and on. Today we'll have a special edition to bring to you the facts and expose the treason of Eric Tattle against Ambazonia, somebody who was a newspaper seller begging for money from La Republique du Cameroon's officials, someone who traveled to the United States of America working as an Uber driver, have suddenly overnight becomes a millionaire from blood money, sucking up the blood of our people. According to DW report, over 360 of our citizens in Tico and across the plantations, they had their body being dismembered as a result of Eric Tattle. Today, the same person want to claim to be speaking for all Ambazonians, directing them to do exactly what Dangote wants them to do. It is dead on arrival. He is inconsequential, and the propaganda of Cameroon have failed. Cameroon will be defeated. We know, and we always have said it. It is just like a matter of pregnancy. You cannot hide it. All those who have betrayed Ambazonia will eventually expose themselves to the people. We will bring you the timeline and detail of this treason as the evening will come, and we'll have a live show on our television. We have seen Chris Ano being labeled in Cameroon newspaper as a comedian, the greatest comedy of all times, says one newspaper, describing one individual with a group of his friends making himself and declaring himself the president of Ambazonia. It is just to make us look stupid, and that is the purpose of the IG, to make Ambazonians look stupid in front of the international community and repel any type of seriousness in the consideration of our plight. And we have seen the same thing being replicated in Ground Zero, with soldiers, a group of soldiers of the IG coming out to also declare themselves as speaking for everybody in Ground Zero. Even when our people resist, they go about killing our people, making Ambazonian look stupid. Yesterday, we saw with shame in Ambazonia, in Bamenda, how vehicles, Cameroon occupation terrorist vehicles, had to drive their vehicle pretending to provide security for our vehicles in Bamenda who have to leave the town, and those coming into Bamenda, because our people, like we have said, should continue their life, their activity, and would only carry out a lockdown that befits them and that is being justified appropriately. Some people were shocked with the resistance against this lockdown that is unnecessary by our people. It is because we call for them to stay back at home. These are areas that we control and dominate, and it will remain so. This weekend, we did not go out to campaign and call our people to go about their day-to-day businesses. We had known of a meeting that took place in Bamenda Upstation on Friday. The intelligence and the debriefing came on Sunday. It was late. La République du Cameroun had strategized on how to enforce the lockdown in Bamenda because they know it is counterproductive. Previously, they sent their troops and they brought in tanks that were kept in upstation that have never been brought on town to put them in standby to frighten our people. They were bold and they came out and opened their community school and demonstrate to the world that Ambazonia is educating their own, countering Cameroon narrative in the diplomatic sphere. This time around, they went around in our street, throwing papers and flyers calling for lockdown that brought in confusion to our people. With the lack of our instructions, our people were confused. The city was open in a clumsy manner. Business people in Commercial Avenue and in the markets, they went and they were reluctant to open their shops. We have told them, Ambazonia, we will not have to be laboring ourselves. For any people to have independence, they must have to demonstrate some collective level of common sense and smartness. That is the reason why the United Nations required trust territory to be lifted up to a certain level before they can be given independence. We will expect our people to also demonstrate and attain that level of smartness as we fight to attract recognition for our independence. There will always be internal trials and temptation. There will always be some of our people who lack common sense that will be used by the enemy to produce, and such counterproductive lockdown means in their mind, they meant for political opposition, but actually in reality, it is an effort that undermines our liberation movement. We will call our people to go back to school, to their community school, not La République school, because Cameroon government school are banned. Shops should open and observe only Monday lockdown until a justifiable lockdown could be announced. Our people should go about their day-to-day business. We will not be doing a campaign to oppose this lockdown. We expect our people to elevate to reach that level where they will act in accordance. Our soldiers of the ADF controls Bamenda, and we have instructed them to call all the key people and inform them that ADF areas are all free and open for Ambazonian business and for Ambazonian community school. All Ambazonian Governing Council controlled areas will remain open and nobody will disturb anybody or enforce any lockdown. Our citizens, by their free will, should do what is right and resist anybody that comes with an illegal order. Like we say, when injustice becomes law, resistance becomes a duty, both to internal and external enemies of our freedom. We must be sensible and we must be responsible. We have been scammed by a group of individuals who claim to speak for everybody exclusively. We will not be scammed by those who seek to do so in ground zero using the barrel of a gun. They are a minority. No matter how they misrepresent themselves, anything that is wrong, that is a lie based on falsehood, will not last the test of time. We have defeated La République du Cameroon. It is time for us to go for the hard job to attract international recognition. Every distraction on our path will only prolong the suffering of our people and this liberation war. At a time when we have to focus on diplomacy, people want to do everything to undermine it. No doubt, Atanganji Paul is behind the advice. And my advice goes to the people in Kondengi prison, mainly the soldier. He called himself a soldier. He's called Supreme, who have taken the helm of this group and is luring on suspecting soldiers who have been deceived by their leaders in the diaspora, that he is putting our liberation struggle on the back footing, and it should stop. All those clowns and social media experiment should end. Capo Daniel, signing off.